Hi, Matt.
And Tracie.
Hey.
Tracie, hi.
Hey.
Hi, and I'm absolutely honored to talk with you guys. You're two of my favorite people in the world.
At least one of us is.
Ah.
Sorry, just go ahead. I'm having fun.
Well, actually, I am too now. So I want to offer a proposition. My proposition is the concept of intelligent design is contrary to the biblical definition of God. And I want to qualify myself on this. I'm an intelligent designer myself. I've spent the last 35 years doing large satellite system design. And I'm also a singer and a songwriter and a composer. So I compose music and I create engineering things. I'm an intelligent designer. I build things that work.
Okay.
And I have a 5-attribute model of an intelligent designer. And I've heard folks call on the show, Matt, and I've heard you talk back to them and talk about how terms like specified complexity are irritating terms because there's no definition. I couldn't agree more than I do. Picking through some of that material, going back and watching some of the shows, I've heard the intelligent design people call, and they don't really decide, or they don't define what an intelligent designer is.
Okay, but how is it that intelligent design is contradictory to the biblical view of God?
Let me offer that. I have a five-element model that defines what an intelligent designer is. In the interest of time, yes.
Wait, hang on. If you're going to say that intelligent design is contradictory to a biblical definition of God,
Yep.
Why do we get to use your definition of intelligent design and your definition of God to do this?
I'm putting this out there as an option. I'm not saying you have to accept it. I'm putting this out there to the public consciousness to.
Well, what I'm saying is that the intelligent design community, the proponents of intelligent design from the Discovery Institute and stuff, they're offering a fairly simple model that isn't in conflict with the biblical God, so far as I can tell.
Okay.
So
do they include in that model, Matt, the notion that that intelligent designer should be creating a design that you can update to fix errors and facilitate adaptation?
I don't think that that's a part of their model.
Then I think that's a very serious omission on their part.
But I would argue that that's what natural selection does. And so
I agree.
And if an intelligent designer came up with natural selection as a mechanism for this, then it would be a part of that design.
I couldn't agree more than I do, which is why
Which is another tautology, but go ahead.
Well, but this is why I say that the biblical model is anathema to that concept.
Why?
Because God makes it clear in the Bible itself when he addressed Noah, I made a mistake.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't say that I made a mistake when I created man?
No. He regrets that he created man. That's not the same as saying I made a mistake.
Okay.
See, I've made a cake that I regretted, but making the cake wasn't a mistake.
Okay. I would accept that, but let me offer this. Keeping with your cake analogy, if you could do it over, would you make the same cake given that statement, or would you change it?
Yes, because I learned something from making that cake.
Okay, but you would improve the design or improve the structure?
The second cake is going to be better.
Sir?
The second cake that I make would be better.
Therefore, you would not go with the same design, you would create a better cake.
No, what I'm saying is that I wouldn't go back and not make the first cake. I would make the first cake. See, this idea of saying I made a mistake, this idea of regret, saying I wish I had done things different, that's not the case. I'm happy enough that I made the first cake that taught me something so that when I make the second cake, it's better.
If the second cake is better, you must have changed something.
Sure. When did God create a second man?
He didn't, and that's
correct.
Why
So
if you follow the biblical model.
So if I've never made another cake, so that's where that analogy falls apart.
What analogy do you think I'm making, man?
That God wiped out everybody except for a family, but didn't bother to improve on the initial creation.
You and I agree completely. Which is
I don't agree. You asked me what point I think you're making. That's the point I think you're making, and I don't agree with it. I don't think it's a valid criticism of intelligent design in the way that you're saying it is.
Really?
Yeah, because there's not a second creation. The fact that God regretted and decided to wipe out everything except for a handful of people is not in and of itself a second creation. It's not an attempt to make a new design. I mean,
I agree. And wouldn't an intelligent designer then take that opportunity to improve the design?
There's nothing about intelligent design that requires that the designer be perfect. There's nothing
Agreed.
about intelligent design that requires that the designer be brilliant. Just that there needs to be an intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so objecting that the intelligence that people are proposing design the universe isn't particularly bright is not, in fact, a rebuttal of whether or not there was an intelligent designer. That's the problem. Saying that there was a stupid designer still agrees that there was an intelligent designer. That's why this is a horrible way to try to refute intelligent design.
Well, let me just say, though, isn't he saying that it would be anathema to the biblical God to say that he's stupid or imperfect or...
Well, he doesn't. Okay, so that's my assessment of the biblical God, and seemingly his as well.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think he was refuting intelligent design. I think he was just saying it's a different designer than the God of the Bible.
What I am saying is, thank you for interceding, Tracie.
I'm just guessing.
What I think.
Okay, I don't see. Okay, do you and I agree that there's no reason to think there was an intelligent designer?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Then if you make the argument that intelligent design requires a designer that's different from the Bible, isn't that what we just said you're saying?
I'm inclined to believe that. I didn't structure it that way. I have to think about that, but for the sake of argument, let's just say that he confirmed.
Okay, continue. I don't really see the point of this, but go ahead.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I don't want to take up your show with this. I'll go back to the drawing board and call back later when I have a crisper answer.
Okay, because
Okay.
here's the thing. Intelligent design at its basic says that there was some intelligent designer. It doesn't tell you whether that intelligent designer was smart, whether they tried multiple times, anything else. If in fact there is you take a look at the Bible's description of God, God is described as an intelligent being who created something. By definition, it qualifies. No matter how stupid you think it is, no matter whether you think it could have done a better job, none of that. I mean, by definition, it qualifies. When you start saying you've got a 5-point model of how an intelligent designer would design for this, now you're talking about good design. And that's not the point of intelligent design.
Good point. Okay.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you.